let's just
Okay.
say it was before I knew about the birds and the bees.
Oh, oh, those.
I had this weird dream about, um,
I've had several of those dreams.
and
It's not just
it's
boys,
like,
people.
it's not just, it's not vivid. So it was like,
Oh,
it wasn't anything that necessarily happened to me. It was something I was learning about.
yeah.
And, it was before you were, I think it was before you came along.
Uh-huh.
So I had to have been,
Well,
I
you were
would have had
seven.
to
You're
have, it
seven
was
years older, so
before I was seven or under, And I just remember seeing this machine, and I was being told that the people that go into that machine, that it helps to create babies.
wow.
Hello,
Hello.
we're back with Grandma's
Not
Not
right.
Right. And when we're not together live, our sound is always off, and we're sorry about that. We'll learn how to do this right someday, but we're not right, so what are
Well,
you gonna do?
but to be fair, a lot of podcasts I listen to that also do video, for YouTube and stuff, their shit's never in sync. And when they start all arguing at once and it cuts out and stuff, I love it. Well, not arguing like mean, but they're yelling and laughing, and
Talking
so
over each other.
we're not the only one. And they have professional equipment. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I'm not sweating it.
Well, we had fun last time being together.
Yes, it was. That's the best part. That's why I wish we could be together.
No.
Yeah.
Well, we will soon. We're working on it,
Yeah.
so. And I think we need to make a point of when we do our music one in the coming months, we need to definitely do that together.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for joining us again, friends and
Yes.
viewers. We hope, we appreciate you being here, and we hope that you will like and subscribe and share. This is just
Yes.
like sitting around the kitchen table with a beer or a cup of coffee or however you want to picture it.
Yeah.
Just a bunch of old folks chatting, and if you're a young folk and you just kind of like to hang out and hear the old folks make fool of themselves, you're in the right place.
Which I am again sans alcohol because we
Me
don't
too.
need a TMI, but I'm on antibiotics again, and so it's been almost the whole month of being ill or on something for
Right.
that caused other problems. Blah blah blah. So anyway, I mean, it's not like we need it. It's just fun. Anybody who drinks for fun, you don't drink to get tanked, but there also are limits. Like you don't
Yeah.
drink when you're on antibiotics. You don't, you shouldn't drink. Well, we shouldn't drink when we're on heart pills either, but it's usually red wine for me, so it's not
Yeah,
too
me too.
terrible.
If I drink alcohol, it's usually unless I'm out, I have one like gin and tonic or something. But I
Yeah.
don't to drink regularly. It would just be red wine, Cabernet. And I right now I'm working on going for a few weeks with nothing because I'm testing some stuff out
Uh-huh. I get
to
that.
see what the effect is on my joint
Right.
pain. To see if maybe I've got some gout stuff going on, and maybe if I
Ah,
quit
crap.
altogether, which the bummer about that is you can't even drink zero alcohol
Yeah.
because if
Oh,
it's
the
beer.
beer. Yeah, beer. Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, we're both sober, and some people like it better that way.
Some people I'm sure get concerned because I
Yeah,
did my dance with some alcohol for a while. It got out of control. So, but it's funny. Like I don't need it. Like if they say, hey, you can't drink for the next 2 weeks, I won't do it.
yeah,
Or you get dental work done. That's a no-no because it dries up your gums. And so people who cannot stop or they just don't follow the rules, and then shit happens again, and they're like, I don't know why this is happening.
yeah,
I
yeah.
do know why, and that's why I want to follow the rules. I don't want to go back to the dentist again or the doctor. It's like, no, I'll just follow the
Yeah.
fucking rules, man.
And I like when my doctor says, "Wow, I don't know what you're doing, but keep doing it. You're all your tests look great." I was like, I feel it's like you feel like you got an A in class.
It does. It does. Nothing makes you feel worse when your tests come back, or on
You're
my
like,
chart
what
where it says
happened?
my chart says obese. I don't even know if it says
Mine does
moderately
too.
obese or obese, but
Yeah, mine says that too.
and you're a tiny person. That sucks.
I guess I'm like 20 pounds overweight. So
Good Lord.
even with all the weight I already lost, but
I
whatever.
mean, yeah, that's another. For I could get
I,
into that rabbit hole.
I know. Well, so what's on your mind otherwise today?
Well,
You had a
my
rough
week
week.
was good. I have my next week's my last week off of school, and last night as of this recording, I had a gig in a local brewery in town, in our hometown. That was
That
fun.
was fun.
It was our first thing together since our new guitar player, and unfortunately, piece to fill our former drummer that passed away, and we have a new drummer, and it was hard. It's like,
Yeah.
and so anyway, no, what let's just say we're still in June, so Pride Month is still, until June's end or whatever.
Hmm.
And I just had some thoughts that the other day that are like, oh, I didn't get to say this when we did the Pride thing. That it's funny how people try to put the labels, even in the gay and trans community. Maybe I don't know. I don't want to speak for them, but they have the LGBTQIA plus, and it's like, which I think is a good thing because that way there's something for everyone. The plus to me could be the P for pansexual because that's not in there either.
Right, right.
And so I laugh because I talked to somebody. I don't want to say because it's too easy to figure out. Actually, there are two people that I talked to this week that are either on that rainbow spectrum or whatever. And I told them honestly, I said, you know what? I would consider myself falling on that spectrum somewhere. And one time I told a close friend that, well, I've been with a woman before, a couple, and in my youth, and I said, I don't care if I found a woman that I cared about. She goes, well, then you're bisexual. And it was like she had to put a label on it.
You
Like,
had to put a label on it.
yeah, I was like, well, I don't know. I don't. It's like you're either if you're both. Well, now they have all these things because, to be honest, like I was always a tomboy, but I always liked boys, and I
Yeah.
still do. But I could. It doesn't matter. So we were talking one day, and I know I probably said this to you too, and I said, I don't even care because once the whole trans thing came out, and I realized, you know what? I've met some trans people that are very attractive, women
Right.
or men. So it's like, are you attracted to the man that's now a woman, or are you attracted to the woman that's now a man? But on both sides, I have seen Instagrams where I'm like, okay, or people I've seen out in the community, or people you don't know. Like it's like, wow, I really
Hmm.
can't tell, but I think that person might be one or the other. And then and then I realized, well, that's what pansexuality is
Yeah.
basically it's anybody.
Hmm.
And I said, but there's one thing that I won't do, and that's those fucking robots.
Yep. Nope.
So
Not
I
gonna
thought
go
about
there.
that.
No,
Like
thank
they're gonna
you.
have a whole category for the fucking AI fuck robots that'll come out in
That
the future.
that's already happening.
Oh, I know.
There are
No, I
people
know.
already
I know.
having relationships with anatomically active. Uh,
Well, they're dolls.
they're dolls, but
They're dolls.
they
Oh
can
yeah,
talk. They can
dude.
like.
That's been at least over 15 years that's been
Oh
going on.
yeah. But what I'm
So
saying is that
yeah.
that's going to continue to be a profitable market.
Oh fuck yeah.
But maybe it'll, I don't know. And talk about replacing jobs
Hand jobs, blow jobs, fuck jobs. They're all gonna be
and
replaced.
and jobs. I mean,
I know.
you
But
know,
I know, but
prostitution would die.
what we talk about, yeah, because you think about like the animatronics that we've seen, like the AI movie with I think it was Jude Law played the guy that he was a gigolo, he was a
Yeah,
robot gigolo, and I
yeah,
think, and now it's here, man, because if
yeah.
you look at even like Disney's had the Hall of Presidents and pirates and all that animatronics that already look real as fuck and they don't
Right.
even walk around. And that was billion years ago and compared to,
I know.
so like,
And,
God, they're
uh,
going to be all, I just think the one
so
time it
weird.
malfunctions and penetrates too far, like, and I'm
I won't
sorry.
stop when you say stop.
I so many
Yikes.
things I won't go there.
I
That's a
know.
private conversation, but I got
Good
so many
grief.
details that just came to my
Yeah,
head that
we
I'll keep to
definitely need
myself.
to have a doll and doll mannequin robot segment episode.
Yes.
We will.
And we'll talk about sleep because I told you my little story about my
Ah, yeah, yeah, yeah. We need to
what
stop
I
it.
thought was weird sleep paralysis in reverse. I don't know. It's kind of strange, but anyway. Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's it. I just wanted,
Okay.
it's not like I'm trying to like, hey, I'm coming out, everybody. And also we talked about it that I said to someone, I don't want to get with a woman because then, if my ex and I had split and then everyone's going to think that's why. And someone goes,
Bye.
why would you, yeah, but why would you
Well, it's not
deny
about
loving somebody? I know, but for me, hell
right.
no, because I'm too petty and there's no way I'm going to have everybody thinking,
Thinking
not
that.
just because of being a lesbian. I wouldn't care about that. It's just the fact of being with somebody else. Like it wouldn't even matter,
Well,
but the fodder that would come out over that, it's like, I don't need that extra
absolutely.
shit.
That that would happen.
Yeah.
But I was gonna say the thing about it too is it's not like it's not about pursuing somebody. It's about if I'm attracted to
Thank you.
somebody,
Yes.
I'm not, you're not, and I say I because I understand this. I'm
Yeah.
happily married and I'm not thinking about it, but I understand where if you just are attracted to somebody and you fall for them, not having to be like bound by some societal law or whatever or thought
Right.
that you can't be with somebody that you're attracted to because of the gender. It just
Exactly.
that's just
Exactly.
dumb. That's just dumb. So,
Yeah.
it's not about all of a sudden, oh yeah, I think now I'm going to go for girls. It's not like that.
No.
It's like embracing your feelings and embracing your freedom to be who you want to be and to love who you want to love. And
Right.
if it happens to be someone of the same gender, so be it.
Or trans, like I said, or trans. Like,
I think
and
that,
it's
and
funny
yeah, and I think
because
that you're right. I think that's pansexual.
I know, and I know exactly the family members who would have no problem or actually even be excited if something like that happened, and then the ones that would just not be able to, they would do it politely, but they would blow their fucking minds and they would be
Yeah,
like, I don't know how to deal with this. So it's funny, but
I know.
that's okay. I'd probably be single for the rest of my life, and I'm fine with that. But I'll never say never. It's just
Yeah,
I really
you never
don't play
know who
well
you
with
meet
others. I
down the
don't play
road.
well with others anymore.
Well,
I don't
it takes a
trust
certain
anybody.
kind of other.
We'll see.
You know.
They better have some money. I tell you that. Just kidding. I don't have
Well,
those
if you're gonna
standards.
if you're gonna seek out someone, maybe that's what you do. You seek out someone with money.
Maybe I should, man.
Yeah.
I'll be somebody's beard if they want. I don't even care.
There you go.
Anyway, so how about you? What's been going on?
Well, Mike took me on a date.
Ew, first he dances with you, now he takes you on a date.
I know. My husband danced with me at her show on Friday night. Blew me away. He came up and he said, "Hey, hon, do you want to dance?" And I'm like, "What?" I was blown away that he did that. So that was cool. But yeah, we
Yeah.
he took me out to a movie, to dinner and to a movie, and we went to see Disclosure Day.
All
So
right. Oh
that
man, I've
was
been wanting to see that. All
well.
right. Well, don't give it away from
I'm not
me.
going to give
Don't you
anything
dare.
away, but I will give you. Well, should I not give you my
Damn, I should
opinion?
have went out to see it too, my fucking self.
I won't. Then I'm not going to review it.
Oh
I'll wait
no.
till you see it. I don't want to spoil anything, and I don't want to taint it for you or make it to where you think it's going to be great and then you're disappointed. So I don't want to do either of those things to
Oh,
you.
okay.
But I will say there's a lot of interesting things in the movie that are also happening in real life, obviously.
Okay. Okay.
And I just, gosh, I don't even know where to start with this because what I've realized in, and you know, I'll spend hours watching videos, reading articles, reading books
Oh
about the
yeah, I
subject.
do know.
But then I also read, on the other hand, I read all kinds of books and articles about different spirituality, and
Yep.
I've really always been into the Gnostic texts, the Nag Hammadi texts, you know, and
Right.
Gnosticism, as well as other kind of branches of that philosophy or belief. And it's so weird how, and then the quantum consciousness, my interest in our consciousness, and where does it come from, where does it sit, is it outside
Yep.
of us, is it in our brain, is it all
Right.
mechanical, what is it, right? All three of those things right now, if you're paying attention or listening, all three of those things have really started to come and meld together. Whether it's religion and quantum science, or consciousness theories, or whatever, all of that is starting to kind of come together. And I find that very interesting that it's coming together. It's okay. I find it interesting that it's all coming together at the same time that all of this disclosure is happening. But I have my thoughts about the disclosure videos that we're seeing too. But what's your take on all of it?
Okay, so I've been having, different discussions with people lately, different religions, different perspectives of things, and I don't know. I just, as far as like, I'm a believer in science fiction and fringe science and all that. It could all be a possibility, and most people know by now that I'm an agnostic atheist, which is a real thing. I don't know what's out there. I don't think anybody really does. I just tend to think there isn't,
Yeah.
And it's funny because you talk to some religious type people, and they could even be on board with you politically and everything. And then there's just that one thing, like either one of them, well, my husband is in charge of everything, or they don't believe in dinosaurs, or, Harry Potter's the devil, or, it's just weird things like that. It's okay. I don't want to knock it, but I've known since I was a kid that for me, a lot of that I felt was bullshit when I was a kid. And no one's ever been able to change my mind, no matter how hard they tried. And it's not that I'm pushing back just to be a dick or be like, I'll never change just out of principle alone. It's just, it doesn't make any sense. And yeah, when I watch Ancient Aliens, it does make sense. But a lot of people think, well, you're trying to matrix it in. Well, you're fucking trying to matrix the Bible or the Torah or the Book of Mormon or whatever you're reading.
Right.
You're trying to matrix all that in. So is it any different than what you're doing? That kind of thing. So.
Yeah. Well, and I think, like I said, I've spent so much time studying different things that it's like an obsession. So when I say study, it's as if I were studying for a class, that I get into it and I want to know more, and I even screenshot pages and I save them in my drive. I want to be able to go back and read that again or whatever, So it's an obsession with me, and I've always been obsessed with wanting to know as far as consciousness, because I think that's the base of all of it. That it's and especially because I read a lot of books that are based on things that Timothy Leary had to say about all of the experimentation he did with the hallucinogenics back in those days, and then Carlos Castaneda and a a few others that
Wait,
talk
where's
about
Carlos Castaneda from? I forgot. That sounds familiar.
Carlos Castaneda was he's like he wrote several books, and there's a lot of shamanism, a belief in the kind of the ancient South American like ancient native beliefs in shamanism and rituals surrounding hallucinogenics. So probably, I don't remember if he was one that talked about ayahuasca, but he talked about different natural things that they used in order to commune with the gods, basically.
Right.
Anyway,
Okay.
there's more to him than that, but Carlos Castaneda, right? Am I right?
I don't know, man. It just
Yes, I
sounded
am.
familiar.
I
Okay.
am. You know what? Because sometimes I get him confused with Don Miguel Ruiz,
Oh,
the Four Agreements guy.
Don Miguel Ruiz.
Ruiz or Don Miguel Ruiz. Yeah. So they're two different people, and I sometimes get them confused.
I
Anyway,
get.
whatever.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
in reading all of these things, it's always been this fascination for me that whatever, if you believe that we have some kind of eternal self, whether you want to call it a spirit or call it energy or a soul, whatever you want to call it, if you believe there's this eternal self, that would be consciousness, right? And if there's a one consciousness that our consciousness is a part of, and it's tethered to us through something in our brain or in our body's system. When you go into a coma, when you meditate at a certain frequency, when you take hallucinogenic drugs, things like that, or have a near-death experience or whatever, you're going to be able to experience a different dimension. You're going to be able to experience something that's at a whole different vibration from what holds it in your body in this realm, in this dimension. And I've always believed that. So to me, with all of this starting to merge together, I'm thinking, okay, maybe these aren't visitors from outer space or another planet, but they're interdimensional visitors.
Yeah.
And they've been trying to evolve us up to the level where we can also be that. But you can't get to that level if you're stuck in a warring, competitive meat eater society. You're not gonna, and when I say meat eater, I don't necessarily mean you can't eat to survive. What I mean is you're using it to make money. When you use food to make money, you are not at the top of the intellectual chain.
Wait a minute. Watch how you say that.
No, I what I mean is, if
They're
for a
insulting
species-
farmers.
I'm not talking about farmers, but if you're farming for your community and you're sharing
I know,
the food,
I'm just kidding.
what
Yeah.
I'm saying is we have created such a profitable business
Yeah.
with food
Yeah.
that we no longer understand being a community and also working within the region that we live, working with what resources we have and helping them, the resources, to continue to thrive so that the species can
Yeah.
continue to thrive.
Right.
We've forgotten about that.
Yeah.
We've lost our relationship with nature and with each other. So there's no way that you can call yourself an advanced species if you're still in that mentality of greed and fear and lack and competition. It's just, you
Right.
can't. So I've heard so many different podcasters talking about, and when you hear these whistleblowers, you hear these people in the government, these other people that were experiencers, and they come forward. One of the uniting things that they talk about is that there is a message, and that is that we are not evolved to a point where anybody wants to or can interact with us, because we're not psychologically, cognitively, consciously ready for that interaction. Even if we know it's true, being able to, I think one person said, when you can communicate with an ant, then you know you're ready. When you see an ant as your brother, basically, when you see another being, even a plant, as your brother, your sister,
Right.
your fellow living being, until you can understand that, you're not ready to evolve to a higher level or call yourself intelligent.
Yeah. That's like some Buddha shit right there.
I mean, that's just what,
But seriously.
there's this united thing being said out there
Yeah.
like that.
Well, that's like, it's funny because, if I see a string of ants on the sidewalk, I step over it. I don't
I do
intentionally
too.
kill it. And sometimes Boba will take a shit on a curb. And I'm like, no, Boba, you dumped it right in the middle of ants, those poor ants.
How dare you? I'm not always that I don't want to say that I'm always that lofty. I will save spiders, especially daddy long legs.
Yeah, I save
Ants, I'll
spiders.
let them go about their business. If they're like in my bathroom, sometimes they come in and they're looking for water.
Yeah,
I'll let them go about their business because usually a few days later they just disappear. Unless they're the big fire ants, and that's a
yeah,
problem because when I go to sit on
yeah.
the toilet at night, I don't turn the light on, and I have to hold my feet up while I'm sitting there, and then
No,
hope when I
yeah.
step down that they don't crawl on me. Those
No,
things
see, that's
hurt,
different. Yeah, that's different.
but
That's like, yeah, black
otherwise it's
widows and
live and
cockroaches
let
have to
live.
die.
Yeah. Well, black widows, I've tried to save them, but it's so scary, so it's
No.
hard.
Especially if you have animals or kids around, it's just good practice not to. But
Yeah.
like the
Yeah.
bees, I wasn't sweating the bees. Obviously, it was a bigger problem than I thought. My son was right, and he got stung. So it was like, all right, let's. I don't want my granddaughter to get stung. Let's get rid of him.
Right.
But you know, I a wasp nest. Yeah, you got to get rid of that. They're aggressive, and I don't. How many times are you going to get stung by a wasp? Go, oh, that's just the luck of the draw. It's like, now those shit got to go. So, but again, we're not to get into it, but on that note of saving versus not saving, you can fuck up the ecosystem. A couple of people getting rid of a wasp nest isn't going to fuck up the ecosystem. But as we talked about in that Lake Arrowhead time when they got rid of the wasp, and then the bark beetles didn't have or whatever, or the wasps were feeding on bark beetle larvae, and since the wasps weren't there, the bark beetles started eating the trees or whatever. All that shit happened. So, or boring through the trees, and then they were matchsticks waiting to happen and all that. So,
Yeah.
you know, you do have to be careful. I got to tell you really quick before I
Okay.
forget. Just today, a couple hours ago, my son came home from fishing, and he goes, "Yeah, I got it." And I go, "Oh, well, you need to clean it or whatever." Whatever I said, and he goes, "Well, it's still alive." And I go, "Oh." And then he goes, "Come look." I go, "I don't want to look at it because I know when you're going to kill it. I don't enjoy that." And then he's like, "You don't want to see how big it was?" Like, "Well, take a picture of it." So I finally took a peek, and then I regretted it because the poor thing,
Yeah.
it's like ugh, I didn't want to, I should have just told him fuck off. But anyway, so yeah, and even his dad that was a hunter. When I met him, his stepdad was a hunter, fisherman, all that. He shot birds and deer, and even now, the last time he went fishing, he goes, "I think I'm starting to feel bad for the fish. I don't even think I'm going to fish anymore." And I'm all, that's huge to come from this guy who used to win fishing awards
Yeah.
on boats. So it is interesting what you're saying, and there are so many people becoming vegan and vegetarian. It's really an interesting phenomenon that's happening right now.
It is, and again, it's not about necessarily about you're a bad person if you're eating
No,
meat.
not at all.
It's
Being
we've got to
greedy with
start.
it.
Well,
Too much
we've got to
surplus.
start thinking about. Um, it's one thing. It's one thing if your community is growing. They're growing chickens so that everybody can share in the eggs, and they let the chickens have some of the eggs so they can have more babies, and
Uh-huh. Yeah.
it's like a symbiotic relationship somewhat, right? It's a whole other thing if you have chicken farms because you want to make money selling thousands and thousands and thousands of eggs, so you're
Yeah.
trapping this chicken to forever just lay eggs for you for their whole life so you can make money, not because you need to feed your family. That's the difference. We've
Yeah.
made a mistake as beings in commoditizing everything we can.
The first time we drove up north I think it was up north to go see our daughter, or it might have been on the way to Yellowstone. It was somewhere, and I'm all, what are those little dog houses for? What's going on? And someone said, those aren't dog houses, those are for veal. Those are like and I'm all, what? And they go, yeah, that's where they keep them. They were like little dog houses. And I was like, I did not
Yep.
need to know that. And those kind of things, like, I won't eat that. Like, I don't want to eat lamb, if because it's a baby. But I don't eat meat right now anyway. I don't seek it out, but yeah, it's just, except shrimp. Fuck those shrimp.
The chicken fish,
No.
you mean?
The chicken fish.
Um, but what it's just really interesting that you don't watch the same things I do, so I don't want to bore everybody with this, but I'm just all the different podcasts I watch, whether it's about UFO sightings, whether it's about interacting with aliens, or it's interviews with government people that are coming forward with what they've seen, or supernatural things, people that are in the supernatural world. It's like their explanation seems to, even like Skinwalker Ranch. I love that show. And Mike and I watched that Secret of Skinwalker
Yeah,
Ranch.
I've seen it a few times.
And even in that, there's something mysterious going on, and you can't deny it because they're not lying. These are all well-known scientists. It's not like they're people doing the show that are just actors. They're well-known well-respected scientists. And so all of it seems to come into consciousness. And I just find that fascinating. So, I'm wondering if we are already reaching a point of evolving, because we're starting to understand the connection of all of that, right?
Right.
So we're kind of at a new level of understanding. As soon as everyone accepts the new way of understanding,
It's a hard sell.
and it's, the thing is, it shouldn't affect anyone's religion at all. Consciousness,
Excuse me? No, I'm just
well,
kidding.
consciousness doesn't necessarily
But
mean, and I'm not saying that everyone should believe in God or not believe in God. What I'm saying is
no.
religion, because you can be agnostic, or atheist, or full-on faithful believer and not even have religion in your life. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that's it. Okay. Just
I
like
guess I should
earlier,
call it philosophy instead of religion.
maybe because as I spoke in the beginning of this about being on the LGBTQIA plus spectrum, to me, there's also the religion spectrum, because again, you have people that cherry pick, and then you have all these different religions, and they're all claiming to be the right one and all that, and it's like, that's the problem. It is a spectrum. There's no, to be honest, that's why I don't feel that there is one God, because what is the point? Like, I want to tell them, why? To test us? Then he's some kind of game master that I have to follow? Like, that's cruel, and I don't want to be a part of that. So you're either saying that Sky Daddy is an all-knowing, punishing. I have one person that told me, well, he's not going to throw you, and I don't believe in hell, so you're not going to go to hell. It's just, if you don't believe, you might not go to heaven. Well, where in the fuck do you go then? And then you got the others who are like, oh, you're definitely going to hell if you don't accept Christ and all. So to me, it's like, so I should do it just because I might end up somewhere in my destiny, somewhere bad. Then you're doing it out of fear. If you never
and none of that
convince
makes
me. But Blake, let me finish though. But if you never convince me that if I never till the day I die, even though I went to church and I've done all your things, and I'm still not convinced, that's in my heart anyway. So according to your rules, even if I went to church and showed up and did everything and I still didn't believe it, I'm going to hell anyway, because I really truly don't accept Christ. But you thought on the surface I did. So what good did it do for me to spend all my life living a certain way anyway? So I guess that's my point, is like, the whole thing just is
my point in saying that it doesn't have to have anything to do with what your religious beliefs is, in believing that our consciousness, the all that is consciousness, that our consciousness is connected to, it does not have to have any kind of there doesn't have to be a creator for that. There doesn't have to be. It's too big to put in a box.
Yeah.
But we know that there's some kind of a consciousness, because people have had so many experiences and have been able to back it up with evidence, or even just, you're thinking of yourself thinking. When you're thinking of yourself thinking, that's just not your brain working. That's consciousness. You're aware of yourself. So that's not just a mechanical thing. and consciousness is it's especially quantum consciousness, it's so big that it can't be really defined in any certain way, but everyone can believe it's there, and everybody can believe in manifestation, can believe in being able to change the course of things just by focusing on moving in a direction that is better.
Yeah.
That's a shift that has nothing to do with your religious belief. You know what I'm saying? So it's like religion isn't necessary.
Right. Well, and
An
I
idiot.
think too, kind of on that note, if this is the way I think you're going, it's another person that I talked to, and I said, I mentioned prosperity, and of course, before I could even get the words out of my mouth, oh, the prosperity gospel. And I said, whoa. I said, first of all, it was I was turned on by the Rhonda Byrne thing, like everybody else, but it wasn't the end all be all, because you form your own opinions and you get more information, and a lot of people now are like, she went a little bit too far over on one side, whatever, about drawing things to you like death and disaster and whatever. It's like, okay, you were just in the same place that other people. Yeah, if I wanted to go to England or Hawaii or whatever, somewhere my whole life, and then something happens, yes, I drew myself to that place, and who knows about fate and destiny and magic and all that.
Right,
Maybe
right.
that could have been, maybe my consciousness knew I needed to experience that. I can get behind that. But cancer in your kid or whatever, it's like, I don't think that, kids bringing that, unless, like you said, it was a predestined agreement with the soul entering that zygote when it became a zygote, and knew it was going to live a life, which again, I will say the author of Twilight wrote a story similar to that. I
The
gave the
host?
book to your daughter. It was called
The
The
host?
Host.
Yeah, I've seen
Yeah.
it and read it. Yeah.
Yeah, but when you read it, the details of the past lives that the soul had been involved in, being a flower undulating under the water, kind of, it was just some weird stuff
Right.
like that. And that was interesting. She is Mormon, I think, but
Yeah.
yeah, I just, there's so many possibilities. I think that's, if anybody's ever watched the show Sliders, where Jerry O'Connell and his group, they can't get home. It's like Quantum Leap. They can't get home,
Yeah.
but every time they get to, it's a new Earth and a new dimension. Like it's a different Earth. So that's interesting. There's also, I watched the whole CW series, all of them. I went down the rabbit hole, and they showed you which episodes to watch. It was Arrow, The Flash, Supergirl. They were all the comic books, and they called it the Arrowverse because they started with the Green Arrow. And at some point, they talk about, well, this is Earth number 79. They're like, what the fuck are you talking about? And they're like, there's been 379 different Earths.
Wow.
And it's really interesting because then same thing, they'd go to a different Earth through a portal, and it would be slightly different. The same, similar but different. So there's a lot of shows that explore that, where it's not even time travel. It's
multiple
yeah.
world theory.
yeah. Now
Multi-universe.
that's everything.
Multiverse.
All the superheroes now have multiverses, because that's how they can get away with having a black Spider-Man or a black, which, hey, I think that's fantastic, and I'm glad. But there's a lot of racist white people who think it's shit. But I am so happy that they found a way around.
I think I think that the multiverse or multiple worlds theory, or even the multiple what is it called, the multiple realities or whatever.
Okay.
I feel like that's kind of the answer to all of these weird things that happen in our lives, especially times when you have a memory that no one else can remember it, and you're saying, but I know it happened, and
what
I
people
have
want to
lots
say.
of those.
Well, people want to say, well, you remember it differently because either you're trying to shut out that memory because everyone else doesn't remember, but you took it bad, or they give you all
I'll
kinds of
give you
excuses for that.
an example, and I have a few, but here's the one that always stands out, is because I was talking about this in front of everyone that was involved, our brother and mom, were involved in this, okay?
Yeah.
And it was at that Avenue H ranch house. The boys had set up these rock forts with their GI Joes, like maybe 20 yards away from each other, 10 to 20. And they were playing war, so they were throwing rocks at each other's GI Joe to see if they could hit them. And they were, pretending to dodge the shots or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know what I was doing, but I was behind one of them doing something. And all of a sudden, one of their rocks hit me in the shin. Mm-hmm. And it took a big scoop of flesh out of my shin. And I still have a scar that's a big scoop mark.
I call it your alien scoop. I've always called it alien scoop.
I know, right? And I remember going in crying to Mom, and she said, well, it probably could use stitches, but she said, I think that if we just put a Band-Aid on real tight, and so she took care of it. When I told that story, none of them remember that happening.
Wow. And I wasn't around then, I don't think.
And it's like, I have the scar. So,
and here's the thing, that's a significant scar. It's a definite scoop. Okay, here's the thing though, Cheryl. Maybe you were abducted, and that's why they implanted a false memory that nobody remembers, huh? Think about that.
I would love to think that's what it is. There are some other things I won't say on camera, other experiences that I've had at that house and around the same age.
Why can't you say it?
Well, I can, but it's weird. It's creepy.
Oh no! Don't say it if you don't want to. I don't want you to say something.
No, I'll tell you off camera. Let's just say it was before I knew about the birds and the bees.
Oh, those.
I had this weird dream about.
I've had several of those dreams.
And
it's not just boys, people.
It's not just it's not vivid. So it was like, it wasn't anything that necessarily happened to me. It was something I was learning about.
Yeah.
And it was before you were, I think it was before you came along. So I had to have been,
well, you're 7 years old.
Before I was 7 or under, And I just remember seeing this machine, and I was being told that the people that go into that machine, that it helps to create babies.
Wow. I love it.
And for some reason, I called it the doggy machine, because I think at the same time, I think what put it in my head was I had seen 2 dogs doing
their business,
doing their thing with each other, doing their business. And Mom tried to explain it to me, and then our dog Duchess had puppies. So I may have associated all that with that, but it's just weird.
And then you had a dream about
machine, and it was, it was a realistic dream, but it wasn't vivid enough for me to know I was dreaming, or to feel like I was in control of it. I mean, I was only probably 6 or 7 years old.
Yeah. Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
So it's just weird. Oh yeah, I was a sex machine. Why did I dream that at 7?
You know what I picture it though? Like just like one of those things where there's a conveyor belt. They're like ding, ding, ding.
No. Although let me tell you about a dream about conveyor belts too. No, this was just literally some kind of machine where one person would lay down with their feet this way and another person would lay down with their feet this way. Oh. And there was like this hose thing that attached to each person.
Wow, that is vivid for a 6-year-old.
I know.
Dude, that's crazy.
Weird, huh?
Oh, there's a movie in that.
I had it. Well, there was a movie. Was it Kentucky Fried Movie, where they learned to harness energy through sex? And people would get paid to have sex for energy. Anyway.
Oh my gosh.
That was probably something to do with orgone energy. Richard Reich, or
don't ask me. I'm not the brainiac in this family.
Anyway, Wilhelm Reich. Reich, and orgone energy. Where was I? Oh, the conveyor belt one.
Yes.
This one I had several times as a kid.
Okay.
It'd be like, in the old TV set, when it would fuzz, when there was no channel and it was just static and fuzz, right?
Yep.
and it would just be that complete bzzz, like buzzing bees kind of sound, right?
Yep.
In the dream, I would suddenly just see that buzzing, static, and that hum, that steady hum, and then all of a sudden, it would go away, and I just see gray, like gray empty space. I couldn't see any walls or ceiling or floor, gray empty space, but I'm on a conveyor belt that's going straight toward this big black square. And I'm on this conveyor belt, sitting on it, going toward this dark black square hole, basically, and just hearing this.
Creepy,
And I wake up every time. I'd wake up before I got to the hole.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah. How about
Well,
you? I know you had a really freaky one that I love. One of my favorite dreams of yours.
What?
The one with the big weird thing in the desert. Everybody.
Oh yeah. I wrote the kind of like a short story about it, and I want to extend that into that's kind of what got me thinking about a book that I want to write. But yeah, it's in the desert. It was like a ride, like, but all it was it was just a round thing. It reminded me of a tin can, a round thing you sit in, and there was like, it just went from one end to the other, and then people just got off. And so I said, okay, we'll get on this ride. When I get in, there was like it seemed like there was a building in the middle of the track or something. And when we got to the building, we went into a completely different dimension. And I was with my boyfriend at the time in high school. And then we're in this weird thing. It seemed like it was underground, like an aircraft carrier or some. And then all of a sudden, it's like he changed, his personality changed, and he was with a bunch of people who were after whatever they were after. And then I was like, I had to make a run for it and leave him behind because he wasn't the same person anymore. And then I woke up. It was just fucking weird. I think there's more to it. Like I said, I'm glad I wrote that down. I actually wrote, yeah, because I wrote a creative writing story for college or something, and I used that.
Yeah.
And I think I was pissed because I didn't get a good grade. I'm like, this is some good shit, man. Fuck you. It's a dream I had.
I've done so much of that too. Used my dreams in a lot of my stories, or they've sparked
A lot of
different
people do,
writing
yeah.
projects and books.
Because our minds come up with some
I
fucking
know.
crazy ass shit.
Have I?
Dude. That's why.
Did I tell the one about? Did I tell the one about?
Yes, the one about.
The one about flying, and the beings.
I think you did because you were talking
Another
about doing
episode?
flying lessons on the cliffs.
Yeah. Okay. So I talked about that already in an episode.
Yeah, and I don't know why this popped into my head. I mean, I don't. We should do a whole thing about dreams. I don't know if we've done a
Yeah.
whole thing about dreams, but I remember the one you told me about with the beach and the girl with the almond shaped eyes, like an alien
Yeah.
kind of thing, and all that. And when the first time that I saw Contact and that scene with her and her dad at the beach, I went, "Fuck my
Yes.
what?" It
When
was
I saw
so-
that,
yeah,
it hit
I
me
was like,
emotionally.
"That is like Cheryl's dream, dude."
It hit
Oh,
me
it's so weird.
emotionally because especially right when she sees when everything clears, the mist clears away, and she can see where she is, and it's so beautiful and like weird and eerie
Yeah.
looking. And then that light being starts walking toward her before it turns into her dad. It's just
Yeah.
this light being, right?
I
And
saw
that
that
was
and I almost
so
shit
much
myself.
like the dream. The
Yeah.
only difference I would say is that the sky was brighter in my dream. That's the only difference.
And if you had never told me in all our years about that dream, which I knew it because we talked about it a lot, it wouldn't have hit me so hard. But I knew as soon as I saw it, I went, "Oh my God, that is just like her dream."
Yeah, that was crazy.
No, but I was going to say on a couple of things that just came to mind too. I always equate how I think we started as a culture. Like I am more of the belief that somebody came here because when I well, let me start with in the Bible, and I've read it. I mean, I've read it once, except for the Psalms and the Proverbs. I wanted to save those for later because to me that wasn't so much canon in my mind. I'm like, I'm just going to read the main parts, and I can come back to that later. But I remember reading in the beginning when they talk about the glory of the Lord following them around, and God talking to them, and a ball of fire by night and a clouds by day and all that. And that they always talked about the glory of the Lord had to have a tent and that you couldn't go in there. And then he's asking, I guess God's asking for a bunch of sacrifices, which I always joke and say, it sounds like he just wanted to fucking barbecue and asking everybody to bring him these sacrifices,
Right.
while he's parking his whatever. So to me, the glory of the Lord sounds like it's something God's traveling around in and
Yeah.
God's talking. Well, why is there a point where God didn't have to talk to people anymore?
Yeah.
So all of that stuff, when I think about it, we can go on and on about all the things that are in the Bible that are but similar, but just that alone for me was like, okay, why is it so hard to believe that somebody came here and was like, oh, fuck, we landed on this planet, here's some primitive people or creatures like Neanderthal types, and they're like, and then they mate with them, just like the Nephilim story. And
Right.
then some of them are like, yeah, let these fuckers be slaves to us and do our bidding. And then some are like, yeah, I don't want to do that, man. And there's ships already there, the technology, but over the time, if the earth did shift and there were volcanoes or whatever, I mean, there's so many things and things wear down. So after thousands of years or even a million years, whatever, I don't know, just
It would
that stuff
disappear.
makes
Yeah.
sense to me. So when people
It
laugh
does.
about that, it's like,
Well, if you read Ezekiel, if you read even the description about the temple, and approaching the Ark of the Covenant, the way they had to dress themselves, the way they describe the types of vests or whatever the robes that they had to wear, everything that they're describing is what you would have to wear if you were going to go into a highly electrically charged area to be safe, to be grounded. So it's like it's like a handbook on how to be safe walking into an electrically charged area.
right.
And there was a book called The Yahweh Encounters that this woman wrote, and it was based on that the descriptions given were telling you how to prepare for being around this mechanical thing that was supposed to be,
Yeah.
you know,
I've
son
heard
of
that
God.
several times. I've heard those similar stories to the Ark of the Covenant several times. And but let me ask you this, because this was another thing that came up this last week with somebody that they said, well, I said, well, the Bible's been translated so many times in different languages. I said, so, and I said something about the open Bible. They're like, no. Well, I read the King James or whatever they said. And I go, but that's still
King
not
James
the
is
original.
gay.
Well, no, but you know what I
I know.
mean. It's like,
Anyway,
yeah, there's so many different. I'm like, okay, but you're knocking on the Open Bible's translation, but
right.
you're also reading a translation that's been, So I guess my thought is on all of these stories about the Ark of the Covenant and the things that you and I tie in, or you and I that we learned from other scholars or scientists, whatever. Is that all based on the closest to the original text that they have, right?
Yeah, a lot of it, because they've got, for one thing, they have the Nag Hammadi text, which is the Dead Sea Scrolls, came from
Yeah.
that. And the Nag Hammadi text has a lot of stuff in it that's older than any other translation. So when it comes down to what was said by whatever they say Jesus said, well, that particular set of writings has the oldest writings that have been translated.
Okay.
Beyond that, though, is like the I'm trying to think of the island. Dang it, Ethiopian Bible. There's a one of the oldest living Bibles, one of the oldest Bibles that's still intact, and it's got beautiful hand painted art on each page, and it's just this beautiful book, oldest one that's intact. It didn't get touched by the Christian development. I mean, it did in a whole separate way. So it still has a lot of the mystical stuff in it. Like, I think it has the Book of Enoch, and, it has a lot of the ones that were kicked out. So you look at the Book of Enoch, and like I said, Ezekiel, their experiences, or even Jacob's ladder, all those experiences, if you read them without any kind of a religious context, it sounds like a sci-fi novel.
Yeah.
And then you've also got the Hindu texts. All of the Hindu texts have the same stories about the wars that were in a lot of the books in the Bible. They
Right.
just have slightly different names and so on, but theirs are more true to the actual sci-fi original version. Same with the Sumerian, so the Sumerian tablets, clay tablets, and then Babylonian Assyrian clay tablets.
Right.
All of those have the same stories about creation, about the flood, about the wars. So this has been from way back, and people
Yeah.
don't want to know that, or don't want to hear that, or don't want to believe that.
Well, that's exactly it. Because from my experience with people that are, strong in their faith, they would never. You'd think that they'd want to just hear everything. Like, we're open to every. I'll listen to the religious part. Tell me what you believe in. I'll read your.
Right.
I love theology. I am very interested in it. A lot of it to me is bogus. A lot of it is silly. Yes, but I'm interested in it. I like to see how different cultures, worship or whatever. It's fascinating to me. But they would never. I think that's the difference. Is that what I told you once that I went to a Bible study as a young adult and was like not convinced, and I had a lot of questions, and I asked something. They gave me a book that was called "What's the Difference," and it talked about all the different religions.
I read that book.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And so I read it, and then I'm like, okay. And then I said, well, but how do you know which one? Like, there's that made me have more questions. Well, then how do you
Right.
know out of all of those? And then you could tell she's just
Which
like,
is
ah,
right.
fuck. And then she goes, well, it's like this. If you want to know if a dollar bill or a paper money, whatever, denomination is a fake bill, like a $20 bill, she said, is fake. You don't study all the different fake dollar bills. You just study the real dollar bills so that you can spot the fake when it comes around.
That's like a circular answer, isn't it? Because, I mean, it's like, but then you could come back and say, yeah, but how do you know that the one that you're looking at is the real one? Where's your proof
Right.
that it's the real one?
But that's just it.
But
Is that
you don't
number
go look at
one?
the fake ones to compare them, but how do you know then that it's the real one?
This is why the analogy doesn't work.
It
because
doesn't.
because that paper is legal tender, that it's real, because it counterfeit is so rare, and that you fucking got that $20 bill from the bank and it's already legit. You know what I mean? It's like,
Well, yeah.
there's proof. That's the point. Is
that's
there's
proof.
proof in a $20 bill. There's proof, absolute
Yeah.
proof, that it came from the bank, and that it's that kind of thing. So
Right.
it's that kind of thinking. They try to get you with these analogies. Like, dude, you could fucking do that all day long, and I'm gonna have an answer. And that's why they won't even go and study. It's like, you can't even watch. I think they're afraid they might change their mind. A lot of people
Yeah.
say, well, my kids aren't going to college because colleges
Well-
turn them all into atheists.
I
And
think
it's like,
I think
you know.
it might be afraid they're going to change their mind, but it also is. I think they're afraid that it's some kind of a sin, and that they're going to get.
Oh,
they're
that's
going to get in
true.
trouble.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. That's true.
There's one thing I'll tell you in the movie, the Disclosure movie.
All right.
I'm not going to tell you what she said, but there's an answer that a nun gives to one of the main characters
Okay.
on a question
Oh,
that I love. It's
Okay.
just the greatest answer to the whole question of UFOs and the existence of them, and
Right.
trying to put that in context with your religion. So just remember that. Listen to the things that the nun says near the
that
end
kind
of
of
it.
reminds me a little bit of the end of Contact, when Matthew McConaughey believes her. Like, yeah, he's like he totally believes that she went through something, without question, and changed her too a little bit. So it's kind of like,
Yeah.
I loved his answers in that. He still had
Yeah.
his faith, but he was willing to believe in her. And I think that's all we're asking is, don't.
It is a
there-
matter of belief and faith, whether you believe in the science or you believe in what do you call it, speculative science,
Okay.
or you believe in religion, you believe in
Yeah.
the Bible, you believe in, it's a matter of your belief and your faith for your own development as a human
Right.
being.
Right.
And we all need to allow each other that.
Yeah. Well, and also, I just, this always comes up. I bring this up almost every time we talk about shows and stuff. But one of the best things to me that I've seen is at the end of Mad Max. I don't know, Thunder. I think it's the one with the Thunderdome. Was it called Thunderdome or whatever? But and the kids, like everybody, all the adults effed up. And so the kids are literally, it's like Lord of the Flies. No, it's not like
Yeah.
that. But there's,
Ooh,
it just
no, that
shows
was
them
a
in,
bad one.
yeah, that was a bad one. But that's probably the shit likely that happened because
Probably.
anyway, in the movie, you know, the kids are sitting there and the girl, there's like a girl, I think, it's been so many years. All the kids are sitting around her and she's telling them the story of what happened.
Right.
And I'm
right.
like, man, that hit me harder, I think, than almost any other sci-fi movie because I thought that's like the telephone game. You know, there's so many oral stories, and then the Bible was written by men, and it was years apart, and all that we already know. And that's the hard sell for me, and also with people who are super religious and trying to, you know, like you're basing it though on something that was written so far long after. God didn't write it. He didn't
No.
write it. Jesus didn't write it. And so, you know, it's a touchy subject to get into with people, but it's like
Yeah.
I can believe in the premise of it, just like I love Harry Potter. I love Lord of the Rings. You know, Narnia I know is based on Christian stuff, but that's a great thing. His Dark Materials
Yeah.
trilogy, all of that. It's like, yes, all of them have something to bring to the table, and I love all of them. They all talk about Star Wars. You know, there's a lot of
Yeah.
these. There's a savior. There's the friends. There's the traitors. There's the against the establishment. There's the good versus evil. There's the villain that's the
Right.
devil and the godlike Gandalf, Dumbledore characters. They're all in there. And
Yeah.
I love those stories. And so I appreciate the Bible as a story like that. Whether it's true or not, the
Yeah.
Bible is a great story to me. And it has a lot of lessons to be learned. So I'm not knocking that. I'm not saying
No.
that, you know, it's terrible or dumb or whatever, not worth your time. It is worth your time to know it, I
But
think.
I think what my beef is, because I agree with you. I like to read. I love studying all of that stuff, but I think that my beef right now is things like we have this disclosure going on. We have people, we've seen stuff that no one can
Yeah.
explain. I've experienced things no one can explain. Mike has. So many people I know have. And yet if they can't control the narrative and say it doesn't exist, it was swamp gas, whatever, then now that it's out and they have military personnel saying this is real, now they've turned it into, well, they're demons. J.D. Vance, our vice president,
No, he did.
he basically said that if they're real, they're demonic.
Oh my
They're demons.
God.
Yeah. So
Dude. Oh, go ahead.
I mean that, and here we go, right? It's like, okay, so you're gonna want people to be afraid of it because you don't want to lose control or admit that you have no control over it.
Yeah. Okay, no one in our circle, like, and I mean like people that believe the same way we do, the wide, vast community who believes this stuff in the world, no one would be surprised that America, first of all, would say that, and
Yeah.
J.D. Vance type people. And
Yeah.
what's funny is, you know, that show from the 80s, Alien Nation, where the aliens came down and everybody treated
Yeah.
them like shit. Well, not everybody, but it was what we're talking about right now, the people who
Right.
thought they were demons, or so they were getting treated like, you know, like everybody, every other oppressed group, but especially mostly like I thought it was more of an analogy like black people in apartheid, because apartheid was going on in South Africa at the time, and I thought that's what I got out of it as a young adult watching that show, that they were persecuted, and I don't
It's
want my
them.
kids hanging out with them.
They-
It was them.
Them.
And we know.
Yeah.
And
the
we know that's
alien-
what would happen. That's exactly what would
Yeah.
happen.
That's what they're trying to do right now. It's like because they don't want us to move our attention to something that our government can't control. If we move our attention and our alliance or our allegiance to this super high intelligent consciousness that's communicating with some of us, it means that the government is not all that, you know? So they don't want to lose their power. I don't know. It's
Now,
very interesting.
I'll try to make it as brief as possible. I got a couple of things that just popped in my head that I was going to talk about earlier. So first of all, when I think about consciousness, and we have extreme dreams, sleep paralysis, our whole family's played with that. And then you think about people in comas or near-death experiences and all they have similar experiences, and people will say, well, that's because they heard somebody saw a white light. So then when they had it, they had the same experience. And I thought, okay, the only way I'd get on board with that is if our bodies, the way they're designed, and just, like a computer, we are like a computer, that we are automatically programmed that when the body absolutely knows, the body knows when you're going to die. They know that it's programmed to give your mind some kind of peace or whatever, unless it's like you're being like in an immediate car accident or something that's cut off, but we don't know because I know this is gross, and I hate even saying these kind of things out loud, but when people got decapitated, and it's just like a chicken with their head cut off, they're still looking around and moving their mouth. And a lot of people say, well, that's just, it's automatic, but they said, but there's some of the people looked aware, like they looked at them, like they tracked them and followed them. And I thought, well, that makes sense because your brain is still going to be active for that time. And I'm thinking, even in the most horrific thing, I think all the horrific deaths that I don't like to think about, that in that moment, if you die, that everyone gets a peaceful exit in those last seconds, that even if you die and that you're out, but your brain is still active, and that you're going to have the most pleasant experience on your way out. And then maybe you disappear into nothingness, which is what I believe. That's just, I think energy is just like electricity you can't see. You just absorb back into, like you said, like a Tesla ball, and it's got the energy going out. Everyone's got this energy, and you just go right back in or whatever. Because again, even in the Bible, they talk about you're going to have a new body, new this. You're not going to feel any pain. You're not going to feel any sorrow or regret or anything. Of course, because you're not going to be yourself. You're not going to remember who you were. So to me, it's like, why would you remember in hell who you are? Is that the punishment, that you remember who you are for eternity in hell and you're burning and suffering? But when you go to heaven, you don't even remember your past life. So you know what I mean? It's like, that's real convenient when you think about it. Your conscience can do that. The other thing I was going to say is, in addition to the near-death experience and dreams and, there's something else I was going to say, that the mind does all of that. Like when you're in a coma, there was a Black Mirror about that, when someone was like, basically, instead of dying, they just upload their consciousness or whatever, and these two women meet in the consciousness world, like the Matrix, kind of like that. That's all kind of, to me, intertwined, that, hey, it's not too far from it that someone will go, hey, instead of the Kevorkian treatment, well, can you just put my mom or dad on a dream simulator, or my kid or whatever, and let them live out their lives there if they figure out how to do that shit? Right. I mean, which is a scary thought, because if you have a bad experience, because your mind is shitty and PTSD, now you've got a whole, Black Mirror Twilight Zone situation going.
Or
where's the kill switch?
If there really is a place that we go to a super consciousness level, if you intervene in that, and you take that consciousness and trap it into something, an artificial world, you're stopping it from going on to its natural place.
Exactly, yeah.
That would make a good movie.
That would make, well, like I said, the Black Mirror one, that episode was good. I really liked it, but I stopped watching it because there was too many gun to your head moments, what ifs.
Yeah,
and
I don't like.
Nope, I can't.
It was too creepy for me.
It was like the
it made me feel sad.
Yes.
Uncomfortable.
Yeah, it was like the Burgess Meredith Twilight Zone, but on crack. Like, that was one of the saddest Twilight Zones that stuck with me, that I always laugh and say that would be me. Like, what if my punishment would be that I'd outlive everybody? Well, you made it till 100, but everybody you know and love is gone.
Yeah.
and you have no one to talk to.
There's no one to take care of you, and no one to talk to. Yeah.
No, but it's, again, science and religion can go together, but I think that there's just so many. I don't know. Well, no, because I've read like the Pew. I like to check on the Pew research and different
Yeah.
things. I like to and that there's more nuns, NONES, nuns that don't identify. People that
Yeah.
say, well, yeah, I believe in God, but they don't go to church, or they believe in Jesus, but they don't go to church, and they don't pray over their food or whatever, and
Hmm.
so just stuff like that.
Well, I think we slowly are learning more and more. So who knows? Who knows in the next? Well, I plan to live well into my hundreds. I want to be 110 at least.
That'd be great.
So as long as I'm healthy, I'd like to choose
Yeah.
when to go, but that's probably not a good thing. um, but I'm sure that in the next 30, 40 years, we're going to get some really exciting answers to all of it.
I think so. I do hope we're around for those answers. We're pretty damn close right now, so
Yeah, I hope so too.
hopefully. And if it's
I
the end, it's
believe,
the
baby,
end.
I believe. I believe, and I've always believed the truth is out there.
Ah, thanks.
So, yep.
Well, I heard they're bringing
Well,
that back too, by the way.
oh, really?
I think someone said they're bringing the series back again, like maybe with a new
With
people or
new?
so. I don't know, but God, that'd be awesome.
Yeah. It's never the same with new people. Well, sometimes it
No,
can be, but
it's not. But even in the series, when he
yeah,
left and then other
I
people
know.
came in, but I thought the reboot was pretty good, and I still love that standalone episode with the electronics. Oh my
Oh,
God,
yeah.
I recommend everybody see that because
Yeah.
it's AI and it's exactly what we fear.
Yep.
It's so good. It is like a Black Mirror episode. It could stand alone for sure.
Yep.
Anywho,
Alrighty. Well, folks, thanks again for another long conversation. But
long
if
conversation.
you have anything to add or anything to say, questions, comments, you want to yell at us about something, feel free to do so in the comments.
Yes, please.
Please. We would love to hear from you.
Like and
Um,
subscribe.
like and subscribe. And yeah, so we will. Next week is 4th of July,
Okay.
right? Yeah, 4th of July. Well, Saturday. So our episode next week, it's going to be it's going to be Wendy. It's going to be on the road, an on the road episode. It's going to be kind of fun.
Right.
Um, I'm hoping to get it edited and out by Sunday. It might not be right away Sunday morning. We'll have to wait and see because there's a
Okay.
lot of footage to put together. So
Uh,
next week, next Sunday's episode might be coming out Sunday evening. So those
all
of you who
right.
watch us every week, I know me telling you that you'll appreciate it so you don't wake up in the morning and be disappointed and wonder where we were. So it's going to be I might upload just some real quick short on
Okay.
Saturday
Okay.
so that Sunday morning
Like a little
it'll be out
preview.
just to
Okay.
say here's a preview of what's coming, but I'm still editing it.
Okay.
So
Okay.
it's gonna be fun.
All right, and we can also do a little announcement if we want to on a short too, like during the week. There's lots of
Yeah,
things we can do.
yeah. So
Right
we'll
on.
we'll probably do that.
All
All right.
right.
So thanks. I'll see you all on the next one. Bye
Bye.
bye.